What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Carbonite Bounty BS with me and the nerds here. How's everybody doing this week?
What is going on?
What's up, everybody?
Hey, how you all doing out there?
Good, guys. It looks like we're on the back end here in the final stretch. This will be episode 5 for everybody who's tuning in live for our reaction to episode 5. So I think we'll have a pretty interesting one for everybody out there listening and watching. And we got a pretty split opinion on our chat group outside of this. But before we even dive into this stuff, let's let our guy DP let you know where to find us at.
Make sure that you guys are going to nerdcyclopedia.com where you visit all your favorite platforms on social media at Nerdcyclopedia on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you are watching us on YouTube or on Facebook, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and that follow button. So anytime that we're on, you know that we're on. Also, make sure that you hit that notification button. While you're on Facebook there, make sure that you are visiting our group, our Carbonite Bounty BS, a Star Wars group. You get your favorite memes, your Thomas Hastings, stuff. Everybody that's on there talking about Star Wars, we are on there battling and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you guys are on Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Google Play, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We are there. So, you got your phones, you got your car devices and everything. Make sure that you are, subscribed to our podcast. And we got a thing, too. It's called NCFS. We talk about the boys. Every Monday evening at 10 p.m. Nerds talking about the boys. So make sure you join us, on your favorite Homelander content, your favorite A-Train content,
Especially this week, you should join us for the A-Train content, right, DP?
Oh, man, some good A-Train content. It's crazy.
A-Train will want you to join us this week.
Got Insta black screens everywhere, Make sure that you are leaving us feedback on Nerds at Nerdcyclopedia. We love getting your feedback and spit it back out to you. So regurgitating all that good stuff.
Wow, I will say off script.
Before we move on, we have a segment I want to do here near and dear to my heart, and that is an ad. And that is an ad for our sponsor this week. So Carbonite Bounty BS this week for Obi Wan Kenobi Part 5 is brought to you by Zay Zune. Pay on demand and retain your employees. Now, DP, let me ask you a question.
All right.
When did you probably work today, right?
I sure enough did. Yep.
You're not getting paid. Are you getting paid today? When are you getting paid to work? Some other time, right? Like 3 weeks
Friday.
from now.
Friday.
Not for today. So pay on demand means that your employees can access a portion of their wages before payday. And who couldn't use a little relief in these tight times? So if you own a business, I want you to look at Zayzoon, who is a great option for pay on demand. And they are today's sponsor for Carbonite Bounty BS for Kenobi Part 5. And that is why I'm decked out in Zayzoon swag. So thank you to Zayzoon.
We got a sponsor.
Our partners over there.
Man, it's a beautiful thing today. We got a sponsor.
Right.
Thank you, Zayzoon.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Can we get a sponsor for like a lightsaber manufacturer?
We'll have to ask them. We'll have to ask Zayzoon if they have those contacts with the lightsaber manufacturing.
Maybe a Jawa costume.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what we can get for you.
Jawas
Thank
like
you to Zayzoon.
Yeah.
Jawas love to get paid.
That's what they like. Right away. No delay.
Yeah, I will say, DP, that was the smoothest read, man. I was like, you have a script almost in front of you, man.
Oh, man, seriously. Hey.
But we're getting there. We got a sponsor. The intro's
we got
coming
smooth
in.
reads going on.
Plugs are going on.
We might actually get paid on Friday. Oh,
wow.
We did some Encyclopedia Theater. It was great.
Sweet. But yeah, guys, just kind of jumping into it. Definitely a split reaction. So I guess we'll lead with the defendants, we'll say, of our opinion. So we'll start with me and DP. I'll start, and then we'll go to our other half, which will be Ken out of Ken and Hitch, which I don't think we'll ever shake hands. So we'll get into that. I don't think we'll ever shake hands. So.
Bring it.
Yeah, but so my initial reaction was, look, I'm just gonna say this blunt. The content is great. I'm really enjoying the content, the way it's filmed. For the most part, the production, everything is great. So the show was cool. My gripe is they're just doing too many characters, too much is going on, and it creates bigger plot holes, I think, for 4, 5, and 6. At the end, the whole Wayfinder, now them knowing that there's children, was like, what? And then, so Reva's not a Sith. She was like some undercover, I don't even know, semi Jedi that infiltrated the Inquisitors, and her mission was to kill Anakin. But, like, as me and Hits try to tie this Dragon Ball, bro, the power level, like, why would you even remotely, you know what I mean? Like, you see this guy, right? He
It's
doesn't even
the
have to pull his lightsaber out. Like, he's just blocking you with the
it was
Force.
that's so great though, right? I mean,
Oh, that
and
was sick. Yeah,
it
that was
felt correct. So I feel like that paid off a
that was
little
so
bit there.
cool.
So yes,
Yeah,
you're right. That was a total mismatch, and Vader
yeah,
basically bringing out that guy at the end.
right.
Hilarious.
We got our guy back, right?
Right, he's
You
there.
said it.
The
He's
Grand
back.
Inquisitor comes back. Yes, the
Oh
whole
yeah,
time.
yeah. The guy you said that. Okay, there's many Grand Inquisitors out there, so he'll never come back and everything.
Well,
Here he is, right?
Yeah.
Right in front of our faces. Oh, we're getting the Grand Inquisitor back because he showed up in Rebels.
Right.
He was stabbed in one of 2 stomachs, by the way.
Oh,
And what a great actor to play that. So we need him back. I mean, that guy's got character. He's got sarcasm.
oh yeah. We
Stage
needed more of
presence.
him. We
Yeah.
needed
Got
him
the
as
right
a
amount of
villain.
Britishness.
Right. But yeah, they did leak that on Kimmel the other day, by the way. Kind of. They alluded to it. The Grand Inquisitor, his species, has 2 stomachs, and she allegedly stabbed him in one of 2 stomachs. So
But
that
he
was
can
a
only
payoff to
enjoy
that.
lasagna on one side of his body now,
Yeah,
right?
right. So who knows? But yeah, other than that, I mean, like I said, there were some holes. I did like the Anakin stuff, the whole Obi Wan and him kind of going back to the prequels. I mean, I really like the content. It was kind of funny because you did see an aged Hayden, in those shots. So I was just
They
like,
couldn't hide it all.
yeah, it was a little. You know what I mean? You saw like the shadow on his mustache. I was just like, a little rough. But hey, I'm excited about the show. I like it. I just think, and I'm sure DP, we talked about this offline. There's too many main characters. We have 40 minutes to finish, and I mean, they were setting this up for obviously multiple seasons, but there's just too many spin-off shows, and I just wanted more Vader and Anakin. So we'll get into that. But yeah, DP, what are you thinking, man?
I mean, like we was talking about off mic, one of the biggest problems with this show and pretty much like the Marvel shows and the Star Wars, content and everything is that 6 episodes to tell the type of stories that they're wanting to tell is too short. When they were doing stuff over at Netflix, the 13 episodes was too long, and you got so much filler and stuff. The sweet spot, it seems like, with good, consistent, solid shows is 9 to 10 episodes.
Yeah.
So the parent down to 6 episodes for all the information they want to put in, all the plot development, all the character development, especially the character development, which is what I think we really got robbed with Reva. She a lot of her motivations didn't make sense, and they had to tell us and explain to us here at the end there. Okay, that's fine, but no.
Right.
If we had known a little bit more about her from the beginning, I think it would have landed a lot better when we started to face Vader, because that turn, with her going against Vader, okay, you're just now deciding, okay, Vader is the enemy instead of, Obi-Wan and stuff. To me, it just felt, it didn't really land like, really great for me. And I'm sort of disappointed because I thought the character was just okay, but as the progression of these episodes got a little bit more, I thought her character was not as solid as the writing could have, presented her. If they were going to make her like the main villain, and for them to bring the Grand Inquisitor back at the end here was just sort of like a slap in the face of what I thought. Okay, you had this guy over in like the animated stuff and everything. You took him out after maybe like one or 2 episodes, and then bring him back. I thought he had the biggest presence as far as like what you want to quote unquote a villain. When he as he speaks, as he carries himself. If you want to give that to Reva as like, okay, an Inquisitor, spy or whatever, I just don't think that she just carried. I don't think that she really carried it. She may be a great actress in other shows, but I don't think she really brought it for me in this particular show. Vader, I'm fine with to a degree. To me, he needs the presence of the big screen. I'm sorry, him on a small screen, this is fine, but I think everything surrounding this show to have Vader on it, he just needed a bigger presence and I don't think I was happy to see him, but I don't think I really felt him as a big presence into this. What else? I mean, we could talk more about like the episode itself. The episode was fine. The battle and stuff was fine. You could sort of tell that the battle that they had was sort of TV showish. It wasn't the movie quality that I thought that we had in like the first 2 episodes that sort of felt like a movie and everything. And the most thing I could tell about that is the way they moved the camera. You could sort of tell like where it's a steady cam, a handheld camera versus things where it's like a sweeping motion where it's like run across like a track like they usually do in movies and stuff. You don't have any of that at all in this episode, and I think that was another element that was missing, maybe because of budget constraints or whatever. If you're casting Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, bringing them back for this, I think you want to go all out. And I don't think they went out enough, as far as budgetary wise, to make this thing as big and as eventful as possible. Coming up on one more episode to go.
All right, Hitch. Let's give you guys your point to bring it back.
First things first, this Anakin Skywalker is the real Anakin Skywalker. They actually did it right. They portrayed him correctly. They gave him all of the horror of him betraying the Jedi. They gave him the calculation to betray the third sister. They give him the power to rip a ship out of the sky and tear it to pieces. That's what distracted him, not Reva. That's what was distracting him, was disassembling a ship and trying to rip Obi Wan Kenobi out of it, right? I mean, what do you want him to do, DP? What do you want the man to do? He's ripping a plane out of the sky in front of you, and you're like, that's not a big enough presence. That's not enough of an impact for him to make. Poppycock. This is a great episode, and we talked all about this. I had problems with how they portrayed Anakin in episode 2 and episode 3. I felt they let him off the hook way too easily. They tried to make him way too sympathetic, making him aggressive, making him a warrior, and making him, lose to Obi-Wan here for the same reasons, because Obi-Wan could read him like a book. I like all of that. That whole story works for me. All of that works for me. All the Leia stuff continues to work for me. Kumail makes that work for me too. That works for me. The whole subplot made sense. They didn't make her Mary Sue, right? She's smart. She knows she has to go up there, but she didn't just find the thing. She's like, oh, my robot, pull a thing I know shouldn't be on there, and then the robot fixes it, right? Makes sense. A kid could do that. I could see that happening, so it's pretty good writing. I disagree with you guys about the battle, and maybe it's just because my outlook here is different. I was impressed by the sheer number of stormtroopers that were showing up all at once in a tight space. I thought that combat was super different than we usually see, but it made more sense than what we usually see. A massive frontal assault using the numbers, right? That's probably how the Empire should work. And at the same time, the combat between Obi-Wan and Reva makes a lot of sense from the standpoint of, again, to quote the great Dragon Ball Z, their power levels. They should maybe she should be able to swing the lightsaber right, but when it comes down to it, in a contest of force strength, Obi-Wan should just destroy her, which he does. Right. So, I get what you're saying, T. Mitch, but I think what you say is an indictment, I say is a vindication, and that's that there are lots of directions they can go with this exact timeline now. Right. And you're right; they're not going to be able to tie all these stories up in one episode. It begs more continuation, but that is Star Wars. Star Wars is a serial, and if it was initially designed as a simulacrum of a serial, it has become an actual serial, an actual television property that is the greatest and most, valuable television property on earth.
I think that would be fine if it wasn't sold to us as like, okay, a limited edition event. Okay, this is only going to be 6 episodes. That's it. That's what it was sold to us for, as.
Yeah, now, but they did the same thing with Moon Knight though, and they kind of backpedaled on that.
Just stop selling us, this. Stop selling us this. I mean, if you go in there with certain expectations, you're wanting a beginning, middle, and an end to to something, and you want it. Obviously, you want it to make sense. I understand your points, Hitch. About certain things do make sense, but in my eyes, do you feel that? Do you feel the character? Do you feel like, are you in the moment? Are you feeling like, the betrayal, like the turnabout of emotional events? I want to feel that if I'm watching, these characters, and I think it's too many characters, and I don't think it's enough feeling and character going on to make me to make me care about anybody at this point. When I'm watching these episodes, I don't even really care about Obi Wan to the degree that much.
Well, so let me address a couple things. One, Reva. So DP, you said, she was kind of maybe a spy, or like, what was her motivation? I think she thought that her adversary was Kenobi, because in her mind, Kenobi should have saved her as a youngling and didn't. Kenobi, during their telepathy through the door, changed that and made it more. He showed her that it was Anakin, Vader, who was actually the one she should be directing her anger to. Because I thought in a moment in her eyes, I think the actress is pretty good. I think she portrays this sort of conflicted human working among a magic world. I mean, imagine if you're all of a sudden thrown into it. You have some power. You don't know why. You're a mortal, but there's a lot of immortals around you, and they're kind of looking to you as an equal. I mean, you're kind of confused. I think she's a little bit thrown by the whole thing. I think Kenobi turned her a little bit during that conversation they have mentally. And then she realized, yeah, you know what? He's right. It's this guy that I need to direct my anger toward, because all this time she was angry at Kenobi the whole time from the very first episode. So there was that. This episode gave me what I was looking for. I love the opening flashback. We finally see Obi-Wan and Anakin training, which is something we never saw in 9 hours of film. We never saw that. Okay. We knew it was going to happen, but we never saw it. So here's finally we see, and it's beautifully done. I thought Hayden Christensen looked just as, I mean, there was very few. I've watched the episode 3 times, very few faults I could find with that. In fact, the battle to me, the training, it wasn't a fight, wasn't supposed to be a fight. Anakin turned it into a fight. It was just a training. It looked a lot like Revenge of the Sith, that battle on Mustafar, a lot of the moves, a lot of the anger coming out. Love that. And I love the way they started it with Kenobi thinking, and then it ended with Anakin, coming back as sort of a flashback. That gave me a lot of what I wanted out of this series. Yes, too short. Should be 10 episodes, could be 15 episodes for all I care. I'd like them a little bit longer. I think they have enough material and we like the characters that they could do that. But hey, I'm not making the decisions for them. Best scene in this whole episode was Vader pulling that transport out of the sky. Loved that moment, because how many times has Vader stood there while the ship he wanted went away? Happens all the time. He gets to that end. It's like the carrot being dangled out in front of him. All of a sudden it's gone. So I love that. He's like, how many times is this going to happen? Well, guess what? It happens at least 4 more times in your existence with us, Darth. I do have one critique. Okay. So, what's her name? The Imperial spy. What's that chick's name?
Talia.
Hallie?
Talia.
She's shielded by a loader droid, which I love that guy. That was a great character. Sad to see him go. She has a thermal detonator. I say she throws it into the hallway instead of holding it. I think the grenade would do more damage because there were more stormtroopers down the hall than just in her vicinity. As just basic combat, it's always better to throw the grenade than hold the grenade. You do more damage to whoever you're trying to fight. So that's a critique that I have. I think that she should have thrown it instead of hold it. I think she would have done more damage. And I mean, she might even have taken out the third Inquisitor. or the third sister anyway. But I'm just nitpicking.
Yeah.
But great episode, and yeah, I say throw the grenade at the
Well,
enemy.
think about it though. If she throws it at her, she just dispatches it back at her at the Force and probably blows that door open where Obi Wan is.
No. She was backing away. She was like,
She could
fall
still dispatch
back.
that.
She was retreating already.
Based on how strong she thought she was to fight Vader, come on, man. And like I said, like that was my gripe. Like she walks up to this guy, number one, like the oldest
How
chick
did
in the
she
book.
even get up that close to
Right?
him?
She's like,
He says he's letting her. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's
Oh,
letting
my
her.
That was
He
all
knew the
a
whole
play.
time.
That was
It
all a
was.
play.
I do like how they did save that, and basically he knew she was a Padawan. I mean, he basically said, and that was great writing. He knew that she was a spy the whole time.
A
He
young
kind
one.
of, he alluded to her. He knew he stabbed her as a child, which is, we talk about him being a bad father. Really, he's a vicious guy. To be like, yeah, I stabbed you when you were 6, and I'll stab you again. Like, I'm like, wow, like,
Stabbed you twice.
right? But yeah, Reva had this problem. She thought she was going to sneak him and like chop his head off from the back. I mean, yeah, it was funny, the whole combat scene. I mean, I did like the lightsaber action. I really did enjoy seeing
Yeah.
A couple
her.
good duels.
And I
there.
liked how Vader took the saber, broke it in half, turned one off, and gave her
Yeah,
part
that
of
was
the
sweet.
weapon back.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
traditional. That's traditional, like combat, right? That's even back to like French, Revolution. That was always the death, right? It was always the duel. It was
Mhm.
never like some like backhanded kill you. It's we're going to duel and the best man wins. So
right.
To talk about Dragon Ball Z again. This is a very, very often in Dragon Ball Z, there will be a scene where somebody has gone to train and gotten much, much, much more powerful than the other person. And they say, well, try to hit me. And they just dodge a bunch of punches and stuff. So, this was a very Dragon Ball Z reminder episode for me.
I
Like
couldn't
I'm sure it
believe
was for you.
how. I mean, did she even get like a strike at him? Because he
No,
literally,
she
I
shouldn't
think,
have.
caught everything. Yeah, right.
No, he didn't. Not even a burn cape. Like he didn't even get a nothing.
But he burned her on shoulder, which is crazy. I mean, that's why I was like, why would you even try the guy?
And wasn't this? I mean, this is basically the first time we saw Vader strike someone. Impale someone with a lightsaber. Normally, he's choking, twisting, breaking with the Force. So he actually stooped down so low in his training that he impaled her with a lightsaber. Like, how low you got to go for him to do that?
Imagine how angry he was when he was on that ship in Rogue One. Then when he just must have been so mad. He had to turn the lightsaber on.
He had to turn that lightsaber on instead of using. And even then, he threw the rebel soldier up to the ceiling, and as he was walking under him, cut him in half with the lightsaber. Like, it wasn't even good enough that he was smashed against the ceiling. He had to cut him in half with the saber.
This is a lot of EU lore though, because we talk about how powerful he is, and it's almost like at this point he seems as stronger than the Emperor. And this is, as we discuss in EU novels and whatnot, why his suit becomes bulkier and why they start to depower him, because the Emperor is sensing
Station
him, right?
Fable.
There we go. What's up, Station? But yeah, as we see that, as I was discussing his power level, like this guy is like raw right now, and he's so strong. I'm sure the Emperor sees it and senses it, and he has to then become more of a, cyborg, so to speak, as we talk about more cybernetic parts, is becomes more bulkier. Because I mean, he's agile in this suit, right? This is the V1 Vader suit. So as he becomes older, as they depower him, it makes it, older bearing. So. And yeah, one question down, man. We appreciate you stopping by, and definitely, if we're spoiling, I'm sorry, but definitely get on and start watching that, man. Definitely get on and start watching it. Appreciate
None of us saw it either. It's all right.
We're making this
talking
episode
a lot about nothing on here,
There's a 20-sided die here where I'm like, this episode was
what happened? I don't know.
Ken's just says 20s on all of them. That's how
I got a 50.
20.
Anything 30 and above, I'm right.
Oh man, I think, to me, this anger that's misplaced at Kenobi, is she really angry at Anakin the whole time? And how like how are the Inquisitors selected? Like, I have all these questions that make it seem
yes.
So many questions I have about what the Inquisitors are doing. How is it the Vader found her? Was she like arrested for some crime against the Empire, and he showed up and he was like, you are now blah blah blah. Like, I kind of want to see that. I want to see more of like what happened to Reva after she left the temple, because it seems like there should be more to what was going on with her.
Yeah, I mean, if she was stabbed and like she played dead when they left, yeah, how did they find her? Because I mean, Coruscant was the temple was burnt down, right? Because you think if you would have saw the footage, wouldn't Obi Wan and Yoda or any Jedi that was kind of there like sweep to make sure like, hey, you're bleeding, are you okay? Like,
are there any
I
kids
didn't
alive?
think that he actually wounded her. I thought she basically
stabbed her.
said she hid among the dead.
I think
And
he stabbed her and she fell on top of somebody to play dead.
Yeah.
I think
I
there are
don't
some
know.
characters, and like in the EU, if they were going to introduce this, there would have been a novel about her being able to
Right.
disappear in the Force, and they would have explained this as some sort of special thing that she can do. So my guess is they may later on say that she's really good at hiding because she can take her appearance out of the Force, right? Or something like, or something. So there's mechanisms that exist in Star Wars, is what I'm saying, that could explain how she got away and that she got away. But what we've seen here is a little flat, right? I think what we're coming down on isn't so much that like what happened with the plot didn't make sense or the result didn't make sense, is that they didn't give us enough space to see this
Right.
character breathe.
Yeah.
And we know, very little about what happened except one brief instance,
Right.
where she decided she wanted to kill Anakin and Anakin's old boss, right? Which is kind of weird. I hope nobody takes revenge on my old bosses. Like, leave them alone. They have nothing to do with me, right? It's misplaced.
A better show would have handled it more adept and everything, to give us, the episodes that we got. We're reviewing the comics. We're reviewing Vader comics and everything. So just catch out our podcast and everything about, the Vader comics that we did so adeptly. Why is Vader leaving her alive after this? Him and the Inquisitor just talk about her and everything, and you're this and that and everything on the ground. But yet, leave her alive. When we know Vader is like a slice and dice type of guy, he don't want to leave any traces, of what he.
That's a good point. But I mean, if you impaled somebody with a sword right through the abdomen, right through the middle section,
he hit her twice with both though. He stabbed her on both sides.
You pretty much think they're done. They're gonna bleed out.
That's so tropey villainish and everything. Okay, leave them breathing and then leave right out and walk out the scene.
You're right. The only thing he didn't do is explain the Empire's sinister plan. In several years, we'll have a Death Star.
His main objective has now escaped again. He has to leave.
So he's more worried. He's not worried about Reva. He's worried about his
Kenobi.
This is Darth Vader we're talking about here.
It seems like it takes extra time not to kill someone with a lightsaber, right? Like I'm not saying like you should not take the care not to kill people with a lightsaber. I'm saying that if you're operating a lightsaber, death is the most likely thing to happen to everybody involved because it's a friggin' lightsaber.
Unless you have
I thought he was going for the scissors, man. I thought he was going to scissor her head off.
Yeah, Dooku, right?
He basically did her like Butcher Bill did Leonardo DiCaprio in Gangs of New York. That's a wound! That's a wound! And
now, had he killed Reva, like decapitated or do something, I think that would have landed better with me. Because I know
so the real hole here that we have to look at, okay, is what is she going to do with the information she got at the end?
Well, you know what's going to happen.
What are you going to do with that?
The whole ending was funny because it alluded to Obi-Wan failing her for a second time. So
he
failed her as a youngling.
Another youngling.
And then he basically says like, "Hey, let's do this," and then we're going to get him. And then you leave her. So that's what with that regret. And he was like, and then obviously he's getting his Force sense back. He senses her pain and her, obviously what's going on with her. So, he's just like, damn, I left her again. I didn't check on her. And you left her with Vader. Like, bro, you couldn't even beat her. And you're a Jedi Master, Jedi Knight. You're some Padawan. Like we said, we don't know her training. We don't, obviously, she's rough around the edges. So, I mean, the ending was a little weird for me because now we opened up the book of somebody knows that there are two children. I mean, bro, why would he leave? And that's not like, why would he, like, who does that? Put a recording out there. I know I'm not supposed to tell you this, but Like it's not, you know what I mean?
Hold on
Like,
a second. Hold on a second. First and foremost, we are at a point in history where you're not allowed to say that wouldn't happen because it's happening
we
right
know
now
that, yeah.
in the news. Right now, everybody's getting caught being on tape, being like, "Here, let's plan to do some illegal stuff. Are you in, bro? Yeah, bro. I'll meet you at the place, and we'll do a whole bunch of illegal stuff." And they're all getting busted for conspiracy. So we know that there's people where they don't think they're going to
Here's
get
a
caught.
tour of the facility. You know,
Right.
here's
Yeah,
what
right,
we plan
yeah.
to do.
Why don't we target? Hold on. Oh, we're on tape. We were never there. Here's some tape of you. And then what congressman were you there with yesterday? I'll say his name right now on the other tape. Like,
That
you know
wasn't
what I'm saying?
me.
That wasn't me there. And I didn't do those things. And this isn't the pictures I took. You know what I mean? Like, it's for me, like there's no way that I'm gonna get taken out of my fiction by these people being that stupid. Now, like you said, it's tropey for them to leave her alive because what could that mess anything up for them at this point, or are they just like,
we
you know
don't
what?
know that she's gonna live though. I mean,
Well, that's true, right?
She's definitely going to Tatooine now.
But
Now that he said
that's
it.
a Star Wars tropey thing too, Ken,
Yeah,
is
he's
to
going
not
to-
have them die. If you don't see them die,
right?
if you
then
don't
they're gonna
watch
come
them
back.
die, they're not
Right.
dead. If they don't disappear in the Force,
and
they could come
show
back.
up as a blue glowing ghost.
right, and then they can still come back as the ghost. No one's
Right.
ever dead in this show because they could just set an episode 30 years before and they're alive again, right? I mean, my God.
You know what'll be crazy though? And leading into this point, we're talking about the Wayfind or whatever it is, the recording, the device, the walkie for all we know. So, how ironic would that be for Anakin to go back to Tatooine? Because obviously, this is where everything's pointing towards, right? I'm guessing she'll be dropped at Alderaan, but now that Reva knows, or we don't know if Obi-Wan knows she's there, but Reva's going to Tatooine, obviously, because she knows there's a boy. She knows Owen because she literally held his lightsaber to his mouth. So, that's going to be interesting. Is that the final battle before this is over? Because obviously, Ben's going to go back for Luke.
And is Reva still going to have that anger toward Anakin, or is she going to soften herself a little bit and maybe side with Obi-Wan, maybe become a like a protector of some sort? Maybe she helps him. Maybe she helps him through the next 30 years, or maybe 20 years of protecting Luke. 10, 12, something. Okay. Yeah. Maybe she helps him, because we all talked about the fact that this guy has to protect this child by himself. Maybe he wasn't.
Well, now essentially he has to protect two children.
So are we supposed to believe that Reva has good intentions going to Tatooine?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, maybe she turns herself.
I don't know. I mean, she might be trying to get back in the good graces of Homelander. I mean, Darth Vader.
So, I mean, you're not wrong.
That's Star Wars too. You could start bad and something happens and all of a sudden you're good. That's Star Wars also.
That is definitely Star Wars.
Han Solo was a mercenary. He would look out for himself. All of a sudden, but he's part of the Rebel Alliance. He's a general. Yeah. He marries a princess. He has kids. He has a Ben Solo that becomes the next new order.
Can I understand a lot of the stuff that you're saying, that the Star Wars, but I guess at some point, I think when I'm watching these shows, and I felt a lot with with the animated stuff. Peace out, Fable. That's from one collection down. He got his Instagram, so make sure you guys are following him. So we appreciate you getting on here. So I think a lot of things with the animated stuff, we got a lot more feeling. We got a lot more, we got a lot more meat to the bone, and a lot more character development, which is not what we're getting. We're not getting a lot of this stuff with the shows and stuff. I think with the Mandalorian, we got some good stuff there. With the Boba Fett stuff, I don't know. You can sort of like give or take whether you like that character or not. I don't think a lot of it landed for me. It was an all right show and everything. And then when Mandalorian came on, it was a better show.
Immediately, right? We all recognize that. We were all like, hooray!
Music.
Right. I love the theme, and then with this show, for it to be called Obi-Wan, I was expecting a lot more. Okay, what's Obi-Wan's plight? Is his sense of, okay, I'm trying to get back into it. I don't think we got a lot. We got too many surrounding characters when it should have been more focused on him. And his being out of the Jedi for so long and everything. We're not seeing a lot of that. We're getting more revenge type stuff with Reva. I mean, yeah, if we're going to talk more about Obi Wan and everything, you could cut the whole Reva out. Period. You probably like how I'm cutting out just Reva out his whole story. Just period. Darth Vader. Maybe you could have had him, but I think you had a good story with Obi Wan just in itself. Just him trying to figure out himself and his journey and everything. On we seeing him after all this time just coming back. I'm wanting a lot more feeling, and what you're talking about is more mechanics of what Star Wars is. That's what Star Wars is. That's what Star Wars does. And I'm fine with that to a degree. But if you're going to continue telling these stories, I think you got to expand that, expand those concepts and stuff.
Well, they could if these episodes were a little longer and if there were more of them.
Right.
They could get into that. Right now, with this constraint they have, you can't do that much. So, you guys love the scene Obi-Wan fighting all those stormtroopers? We saw General Kenobi, basically like we saw him in the Clone Wars animated, like you were talking about, DP. We saw him in the flesh fighting these stormtroopers like a boss. I mean, he took no hits. He was taking them all out. And how about the one guy smashing the stormtrooper up against the wall? He just took him and just smashing him up against the wall. I mean, it was a great scene.
But look at that. That was a great scene, but look at the great rich stuff that the animated stuff presented us about Obi-Wan with it, the love of his life. What's her name? Yeah. I mean, come on now. We don't get any of that in here. I know that was animated stuff. I know that a lot of people watching this didn't really see the animated stuff. But Obi-Wan had a life 10 years in between this. In between when we left him last in Revenge of the Sith up until now. We don't really get any indication of how his background has been, in between those times and stuff. And I think that's a rich, if you want to call a show Obi Wan Kenobi, I think that's a rich element that you could have landed with here.
And you could say the same thing about Book of Boba Fett. We really didn't get a whole lot of Boba Fett.
But that show's getting rinsed. The more and more people watch it, it's just not looking good.
It's not the right tenor for that character. That's the mismatch. That's a mismatch.
Yeah, and it wasn't great until they brought Mandalorian into it. Then all of a sudden it got good.
Yeah. I think when we discussed this, when you did Obi-Wan and we wanted Vader, it's like 1A, 1B. There was not enough median for it, because now this leads you to believe we've kind of got Obi-Wan's story, so now we need a Vader series because we need to get Vader how he felt.
I don't know. I don't know if we need Vader. We said we wanted Obi-Wan. It's like you can't mess up Obi-Wan.
I don't think they messed this up. I don't think they. I think this is a runaway success for me for a couple reasons. And again, I love that it's a split. I love that it's split. We don't oftentimes. A lot of times we all gang up on Kenny, but we don't often have a 2-on-2. To me, this whole series is a success because its job was to launch this era of Star Wars stories. And this is an important era that they mean to fill in, these years during which the Empire was dominant, during which Darth Vader was active. Star Wars is no longer a story. One of the things they did when they closed off the Skywalker saga is they said they were going to be doing a lot of different things. And we've seen an exponential change in where on the Star Wars timeline is active. We're now getting in between the trilogies, at the end of the, in between both trilogies, right? Both of the in-between spaces are now filling up with content.
And all the content makes sense.
It all links together. It all sort of supports itself. And so for me, what you have is that done, right? Let's say because I like Star Wars, I want that to be successful. I want them to be able to come back to me. Like I said, if they did a Star Wars anthology where anything could happen any week, if they dropped a story in this group, would there be multiple storylines I would be interested in following? And the answer is yes. There would be a bunch of these ones I'd be interested in following. If Reva's going to go look for Obi-Wan, Is Obi-Wan going to have to take on all comers like some sort of samurai in the desert that has to just, nuke everybody that comes out after Luke? So that's why he's so sharp all the time. You know what I'm saying? Is Kumail going to go back to Alderaan and be Leia's fixer? That would be a good job for him and something that he could do once or twice a year and get paid and enjoy himself because he's a nerd like us. You know what I mean? He's one of the real good. Kumail is one of the real good pure nerds, and I'm so excited that he gets to do the Star Wars bit and it's working out. And I like his attitude. I like his energy. I like what he's doing with the part. I like what they've done with Vader. I feel like this is my Vader. This is my Anakin Skywalker. This is a portrayal that vindicates what we thought about what was going on in the prequels, which was that there was writing issues and dialogue issues, but the portrayals were good. The characters were good. Right. And if we move them into a different setting with different stakes, it would be good. It would work, and it does. And that's why I like this flashback. It tells you that they were right to bring back Hayden Christensen and let him continue to be Anakin in whatever capacity that's going to happen in. And let's be clear, for me, if I'm talking about Anakin looking older, it's just an effect. I'm talking about the effect.
That's us being nitpicky. I don't think it was.
Hayden looks great. Yeah. And as someone who's aged about the same difference, and right. We've aged at the same rate, and I've gone about from the same age as the character to now, I feel that for sure since I'm old.
Yeah, and Vader, just to speak to Vader real quick. So Vader's anger level is a 10 right now. Like it is
great.
He is just angry 100% of the time. As he moves into A New Hope, Empire, Return of the Jedi, you can see his anger level start to level off a little bit because he's getting older. Then when you're angry that long, you got to back off. Like you can't be angry that much, all that 100% of the time. Plus, he's starting to see maybe he's wrong. Maybe there's other things he needs to be looking at because bottom line, there's a machine in there. He's more machine than man, but there's still a man inside. There's still a human. There's still a sentient being that's able to think. And I think as he moves through, Empire and into Return, he starts to kind of level off a little bit, and he's not as angry, and he's a little less clunky, or more clunky.
Yeah. And you kind of tie it up perfectly there, and you say that because think about it. In 4, when he dispatches Obi-Wan, he has really nothing to live for anymore, right?
Right.
That's his mission, right? He dispatches him. It's over. So he kind of takes his eye off of off the prize, so to speak. So I do understand that payoff. And as we discuss this, and I guess Reva understanding that the children are out there, this does that payoff when he says to Luke, basically he knows he's his father. So this kind of begins to tie up the story that maybe Anakin does know that. I mean, obviously he knows he has one child. So now this ties into the understanding that he already knows that he has a son. Mm-hmm. The daughter might stay hidden for a while, but he understands he has a son. And obviously I don't know how, but this is I think the beginnings of him understanding that he does have a son and where he is.
Yeah, I don't think that comes out until ROTJ, right?
Right, yeah. Well, he probably know, but he doesn't tell it to him till to then.
Well, when do the comics take place? What timeline do the comics?
If that's legit, then it's like 5 years after this. So the question, I think it's unlikely that Reva is going to run to Darth Vader, who just stabbed her.
Right.
A couple times.
That's why I think it's more like she gets to Tatooine at the same time that Kenobi does, and they confront each other, and there's some understanding that happens, and I think that she maybe, I don't know, sides with him.
She would have to. She's not a Sith. I mean, in the way the Sith operate, they're not going to let her back in.
Right.
The actual answer to his question, which he should have just dropped on her, is I was killing General Grievous. That's literally what he was doing when that happened. That's where he was and what he was up to.
That's what Kenobi was doing, right?
Yeah. He's like, I was on Utapau killing General Grievous. Yeah. Sorry, I was busy. And then guess what? I came back, infiltrated Coruscant, set the beacon to say stay away, and then I went to Mustafar and burnt Vader up. I figured he was dead, but as we both know now, Reva, next episode, You can't leave people for dead and expect them to die. It's
That's
not something that happens.
I like
all the
that
time.
set of dialogue better than anything I heard in this episode today. Seriously,
Yeah, but like
if he had said that out of his mouth, they would have had me.
But that's still
Yeah,
like plot
that's
holes,
a
as,
good
as
point.
he's saying though, because like listen, like even Hitch just said it. Why does he have to explain himself? He's a Jedi Knight. He's not a Jedi Master at this point. They literally were killing masters in there. So what was a knight going to do compared to high level ranking members, right? Like
Nothing.
he
Nothing.
wasn't going to do anything. They came in there with an army of stormtroopers, and if an army of stormtroopers and a Jedi at their temple with defenses
Who
couldn't
was
hold him back,
angry?
who was going to? Yeah, who was going to save him? Any of the young guns, right?
So Reva in that instance, so she's all this time she's not even thinking about this. I mean, think about how old is she at this point?
Probably like 7, 8. I mean,
Yeah,
and then you got all this time. You letting your anger stew for so long. You're not even thinking about you're not even thinking about the concept or everything that you guys were talking about. Where Obi Wan was, what could have been happening at the whole Order 66 moment. All the chaos that was happening, and all she's focusing on is like Obi Wan, in that particular instance and everything. For what you say, T. Mitch, about him not shit, he shouldn't be able to. He shouldn't have to explain.
Wow.
She should. As smart as she is to be at where she is at this point within like the within the empire and everything, she should be putting a lot of stuff together, but letting that anger just overcloud her is not really making a whole lot of sense to me.
I mean, it's a good story though that we tie in with I also say these Gen Zers, a lot of our children though. Like, isn't that kind of how they assume things? Like, they just don't understand. They want it's me, me, me. I want an answer now. This is how I feel. This is what their opinion is so opinionated that sometimes they don't look at the context of what's going on. And I feel that they portrayed her character like that almost as a kind of like, well, why weren't you there? Well, why wasn't Master Windu there? Like, why wasn't? And I think that her whole gripe is that you let your Padawan down. It's one of those things to where like she's almost too opinionated. It's almost like you're talking too much. We didn't talk to our parents like that, and for her to talk to a higher ranking individual like that kind of showed, the petulance that Anakin had almost, right? That was similar to Anakin's
But she
upbringing.
had a point. He did let his Padawan down. I mean, when they were talking, she said he was your charge. You were responsible for him, and look what happened. I mean,
also Old Yeller style, you had a responsibility. You had to take care of this guy, and you did it. And look at us now.
I will say, with us only having one episode left, I am highly, highly, highly disappointed that we haven't heard from Qui-Gon.
That's the thing at the end of that's what I think.
This whole 6th episode could be all Qui-Gon Jinn for all you know. The whole episode is just Qui-Gon Jinn.
It could be like one of those
chair, Indian style, talking to just you, T. Mitch.
Like that episode of Mad Men where Roger goes on an acid trip for the whole episode.
Yeah.
Well, I think on this one though, even at this point of his training, because when he was killed, he's not a Force ghost yet. So if anything we get from Liam Neeson, I think it'll be a voiceover. Maybe he'll talk to him through the Force. I don't think we'll see a Force ghost because he never got to that point. He was training with the Wills when Maul killed him, so he never completed his training. He taught obviously Yoda and the others to.
So you don't think he was strong enough to become a ghost?
The Force ghost, he wasn't. No,
his training strong enough. It's like he didn't know. Like,
yeah,
he wasn't study long enough. Right. I would be up for, like, if we saw the Master Apprentice relationship from episode 2, why shouldn't we see the Master Apprentice relationship from episode 1? Why shouldn't we see at least? Because my thinking is a guided flashback or some sort of have him talk and have Obi-Wan looking like it's episode 1, talking to Qui-Gon Jinn, and like they're going like it's almost like a dream, but it's not. They're having a conversation.
Like bonus content, like we just got from the training. Yeah, it would be nice to take that.
And would Jar Jar be in that scene?
No.
Okay.
No, Jar Jar. It's kind of funny how
in the background, standing there.
It's funny how this particular show, is what it is as far as its episode running count and everything. You gotta accept, the story that's put in front of you. But the Andor show's coming out, it's double the size. So we're going to get 12 episodes of Andor in one season, and they got a
Season
definitive.
2 is already filming.
I know, two seasons with 12 episodes. So that's 24 episodes. That's like 4 Star Wars shows.
Yeah, and they don't even know if anyone's gonna watch it. People might watch the first 2 episodes and tune out.
That's not. Oh yeah, sure. There's no obsessive nerds with podcasts about Star Wars out there.
There's nobody watching anything and then going online live and talking.
No, not
obtaining sponsorships and
there's none of that.
Shout out to Zay Zone once again.
Yeah. Get paid. But yeah, I mean, so you got like, they got a definitive end where they're going to end this. So we know that series is going to end in Rogue One. So that's just a lead up. So they got that benefit, but it's just it's curious to me how they're going to let that story, whatever story they're going to try to tell they're letting it breathe. They got 12 episodes to do it. We were talking about the sweet spot is like 9 or 10. They're letting 12 episodes breathe as far as like whatever world they're going to try to portray in the Andor series. Whereas this thing right here, I think we were shorthanded. We were shortchanged, and we have to deal with what we see in front of them. But again, I think it's just another Disney / Marvel thing that is going to be another letdown come episode 6.
I think that there will be a season 2, and for the fact of with us loving how Filoni ties these loops up. Right now we have basically an Anakin aged Luke Skywalker. We have no Luke Skywalker interaction. We need to tie that 8 to 15 before we get to that episode 3-4ish. We need that filler right there. I think that'll be season 2. So I do think there'll be a time jump. So maybe we'll get that older Ben to where we see kind of the pre-trainings of Luke, to him kind of just what happened. Maybe we'll see that.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see more of what happened with Obi-Wan. He had a major love interest in his life. How is he feeling about that? How is he feeling the effects of?
Oh, you want the soap opera?
But that was the beginning of it.
I guess I do, kid. I guess I do.
You want the Jedi Hospital version of Obi-Wan?
Not Jedi Hospital, kid. No.
I think we got that episode. Yeah,
he called for a decapitation earlier. He called for a decapitation. He said that would fix the show. A decapitation. Yeah,
I want the Breaking Bad version. I want the Breaking Bad version of Obi-Wan. Just give me the Breaking Bad version of that, where if he's going to plan like a
he's running spice
to like the to Lucifer and everything.
He's making spice.
They take a whole episode to plan that out.
It's a whole thing. I'd like to sell you death sticks.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean,
and that speaking of that girl, that's Obi-Wan, or that's Ewan McGregor's daughter, right? The one that was trying to sell him spice.
Yeah. That's his daughter. Yeah.
So that's weird.
Yeah.
That's like weird. So there's a soap opera for you, DP. There's a little bit of like.
Yeah. Well, give me. Hopefully Andor pleases me more, so we shall see.
Yeah, I think
we'll see.
Yeah,
that's only a couple years after this. Like the timeline wise, if you said, what we have to do here is we have to have this mini series which serves as a prologue to the Andor era, and little Leia and whatever else they're gonna do. You know what I mean? And then you have those series, and then in 2025. You have Obi-Wan season 2 that's all about, okay, Luke's 13, 14 years old. Owen can't just keep him on the farm. Now he's venturing out. Obi-Wan, maybe something similar to what happens to him in the John Waste in episode 4. Maybe that's a pretty common thing where he's an idiot and he goes out and just does a bunch of stupid stuff, and Obi-Wan has to be like,
Tusken Raiders, trying to jump him or something. Yeah, right.
Again.
How many times have you healed me, Obi-Wan? What? Oh, don't worry about that. You know what I mean? It's like it's and then they can come back and do that. So you can see that structure happening. But again, for me, I called for them to be doing an anything can happen sort of situation with Star Wars. I called for that during like Mandalorian season 1. So I understand if you're saying that to you want more structure and you want more finality and you want more beginning, middle, end, and you want more resolution, I'm okay with less because what I'm interested in is that variety. And I like that, if they can do whatever they want, I don't know what they're going to do.
I can appreciate that. I don't want them selling me one thing and then giving me another thing.
Yeah,
That's fair.
That you're right. The limited edition, limited run sell that we had was a ripoff, because obviously
Somebody clip this right now, just to let you know. Somebody clip this. Keep talking, Ken. I like this. Keep talking.
Oh, okay. So this is not a limited run. There's no way anybody is gonna like accept the fact that this is all we're gonna get. Like we got more. So that was jive. That was some jive turkey marketing right there, because I thought, oh yeah, here's going to be this like limited run, one shot Kenobi. We're going to get this really nice little package. We're going to get, however many episodes, 6, 39 minutes each. Come on. So that was a marketing foobar. Yeah,
all the jive
turkeys. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Well, they spoiled us too for week 1, right? Because you gave us 2, so you gave us really nothing left at that point.
Yeah. You come with 2 bangers. The first 2 episodes were bangers and stuff. And
bangers.
And then you introduce these characters that actually have really interesting backstories if you can get to them, with Reva, little Leia, Obi Wan, of course. And also, our favorite Darth Vader and everything.
And Ice Cube Jr. in space.
Yeah, that's
right.
He had a big gun. He had a bowcaster. I was like, yeah, they gave him a big gun.
Yeah, and
awesome.
A human with a bowcaster. That's unheard of.
I want to see that guy in the Andor series. Like, why shouldn't he be a part of that cell, right?
Yeah,
so for me, I think if you are saying at the end of these 6 episodes, am I going to be completely satisfied with what they put out? I agree with you that your answer may be no, but that's because I think that that's not the full story, right? That's not the whole content.
I think
and so
they
for
built
me,
it that way. They built it that way so they can do something else somewhere else with this whole story.
I mean, but then we missed the biggest part of this whole kind of this whole episode 6 run, which is like there's now, we understand, a whole underground network of Jedi transportation that we've not even touched on, right?
Like the Underground Railroad, where they're moving,
right?
They're moving moving slaves. Now we're moving Jedi.
I think in that last episode, they sensed the kid that was Force sensitive. He stared at him, right? So he's seeing something in the Force. So they're figuring out that, of course, we know it's designed to make money.
Yeah, because Marvel.
Why are there all of a sudden 1,000 Jedi in the post-Empire world?
But
I mean, whatever.
This will tie into that. And then we talk about it. I know I talk about it.
But look, if we're saying that the actual correct, like, because the Jedi, like Obi Wan Kenobi and Yoda, are saying this guy's it. He's the last hope. If the story of this interceding period between now and the end of Rogue One, so to speak, right? If that story is a story of the Jedi actually now being hunted to extinction, then it's an extremely interesting story, because they are giving you all this hope that's fake, and now Vader's going to systematically go through and eliminate them.
Yeah,
like, I mean, what if they do it? They could do a 5-episode limited series for every one of these Jedi, and Darth Vader is the monster at the end of the book for every single one. They could do that, and then that's a really cool thing. But I think I agree with you guys now, thinking about it, that if you're going to grade this series only on its own content and not on its potentiality, I can see why you could say, hey, you did way too much starting and not enough finishing up.
That's where I was exactly. I thought there was going to be more. This was a good pilot, right, for Mando season 1, as we said, when we created all these characters and all these stories. We got our Ahsokas. We built off of this. I didn't think they would do this with Obi-Wan, because I thought this would be more of the story that we all wanted to hear and really tie off that arc. And we didn't really get that as DP.
Mando was so streamlined, though. I mean, it knew what it wanted to do from the jump. Got into its story. He hopped around to different planets and stuff. Right.
Right. But remember, Mando or Dar Jin was a new character.
Yeah, and that's what. Yeah, we
The
we always
purpose of the
Better
Mandalorian.
being new. Yep.
The purpose of the Mandalorian was to introduce Grogu. That is it. That was it. That's the
Yeah.
whole point of it, and that worked. It worked. It revitalized the entirety of Star Wars fandom and basically created Star Wars TV, which is what Star Wars is right now. That's all that Star Wars is, putting out movies
Yoda
later.
Lovers out there are they just love that character for whatever reason. Grogu, Baby Yoda.
I named my daughter Baby G. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
good for you, man.
I call her sometimes. We call her Baby G.
Baby
You know what
G.
I mean? So I mean it was extremely successful, and I think if you think about where we are in the meta production of Star Wars, in the 20s, we're early because we know for a fact that the content that's out here in 22 is exponential related to the content in 21. We know that the content that's going to come out in 23 is going to be exponential and related to the content in 22. We just found out one of the big directors from Marvel is going to be making a completely unattached in time, far, far away in-universe story that will have nothing to do with any of these events at all. So, we know that what's coming down the pipe is a world where there's lots and lots and lots of Star Wars. And so my philosophical outlook there is I'm not gonna have the idea that we are living in a scarcity time for Star Wars. We are living in a time of plenty. And so I'm going to be generous with my assumptions on how much time they have left and what they have to do.
No, I think we discussed this, and this is another story. Us having this discussion is why, once again, for the 8,000th time, they will not do the Old Republic, and we just alluded to it, right? These newer stories, we don't have anything to go off of, so we soak them up and we enjoy them. But when we go back to things we know, this is where the discussions come, right? Because it's I like this, I don't like this. This is right, this is wrong.
And that's why we won't do the Old Republic, because there's none of that.
Because
what's canon?
Everybody knows that.
What's real? What's in the Bible? You know what I mean? There's these mythologies go through a period where people decide what's heresy and what's not. You know what I mean? Did Luke kill the Emperor, or was it Darth Vader? That whole thing eventually could become a schism that could split Star Wars into multiple. All that stuff can happen, and we're at the point now where, we're broadening our view of the interpretations of what this is, and I think that fits with what this series wanted to accomplish. So, in my opinion, it's meeting its goals because its job was to start this era of content for Disney Plus. In my opinion,
definitely. And hey, man, this has definitely been a hotly contested episode. If you guys haven't heard, and we hope that you guys have these same discussions. You don't have to agree with us. That's why we have our Facebook group where you can interact, Instagram. But
completely.
Definitely, I don't think we'll ever get Ken. We'll never shake Ken. But yeah, one final time. Again, we want to thank Zayzoon again. Which is a pay-on-demand and retain your employee service that allows you guys to get paid a little earlier than you need to. So,
and who doesn't want that?
Yeah, why not take advantage of some early money if you need it?
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, it's definitely been a fun episode. We'll be finishing up here in a week, guys. So we've kind of all alluded to this is our sweet ending. Hopefully, we get 48 minutes. So hopefully they'll be generous enough to give us another 10. I'm not, 50, I'm not too optimistic 50, about that. But
51.
Maybe, yeah.
I'd
like to get another 40.
I'll take an hour and a minute.
Right?
Whatever.
But yeah, guys, once again, one final thing. Stay tuned to the guys on The Boys. They're reviewing that stuff. So please look at all our content on NCFS as well. Follow us online. And until next week, guys, this is the way.
This is the way.